Today on the Bill Self News Conference Show, we'll talk about the Hawks' last outing against Baylor, recap some of the Big 12 awards, and get you ready for the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. Oh, and we'll talk a little bit about the 9 consecutive Big 12 championships Kansas has won. All that and more coming up next. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Matt Gasper. Well, despite a poor performance against the Baylor Bears on Saturday, the Jayhawks have once again won the Big 12 championship, this time for the 9th consecutive season. Kansas shares this year's title with in-state rival Kansas State, who got a piece of the Big 12 championship for the first time since 1977. The Wildcats held a 30-minute pep rally inside Bramlage Coliseum on Monday to celebrate their first-place tie for the league. There were speeches, videos, and the nets were cut down. But back in Lawrence, Coach Self couldn't be more proud of his guys for another title. But he says there's no need to celebrate in a big way quite yet.
If you look at the body of work, as we've all heard in ESPN over the last 2 months, the body of work since January 10th or whatever has been pretty impressive. And so, you eliminate 8 days, and it's been real impressive. So we'll talk about it, but I don't see any reason to be giddy about it or celebrate in a big way because if I want our guys to still sting. I want our guys to still feel that even though we're happy with our accomplishment, why would we not put a foot on a throat? Why would we take the foot off the gas? And I'm not saying we did that, but we got to get that killer instinct so that way moving forward, if we experience some success, we certainly don't think that success is automatically comes to you. You got to work every day, and I don't think we did anything to make Baylor play poorly. We didn't play well, but when you don't play well, you got to make somebody else play bad, and we allowed them to be comfortable.
Being the preseason favorite to win the Big 12 outright, Kansas was in early control of the league, starting out 7-0. Then, after the Hawks tripped up and lost 3 straight to Oklahoma State, TCU, and Oklahoma, the Jayhawks really had to earn it. And by going 7-1 in the final 8 games, they did.
When you're 7-3 and you got to run off 7 in a row, and you still got to go to Stillwater and Ames, and those we earned it. We're not going to apologize for sharing it at all, and congratulations to K-State. I hate that they share it with us, but they deserve it because they had a great year, and they won some big games away from home too.
4 seconds into the game against Baylor on Saturday, the Hawks had a 2-0 lead thanks to a quick layup by Ben McLemore. Then it became the Pierre Jackson and Corey Jefferson show. Both were 11 for 13 from the field, and Jefferson made his first 3 3-pointers of not just his season, but of his career. He finished with 25 points, while Jackson led the Bears with 28. If those point totals sound familiar, they should. When Kansas lost at home to Oklahoma State earlier this season, Markel Brown scored 28, while Marcus Smart added 25. So sure, Kansas didn't play great in Waco, but Baylor was on fire and playing for their NCAA tournament lives.
Now, we didn't play good Saturday. I'm not going to try to spin it to make it sound like we did, but we could have played good Saturday and still come up short. They were really, really good. I mean, they were really good. But even as poor as it was for us, this is a 6-point game with 6 minutes left. It wasn't a 20-point game, but still, yet they controlled it from start to finish. No question about that. But I don't know. I think you want to always, going into a tournament, be playing your best ball, but you also want to have your guys' attention, which I think in a lot of respects it's a lot easier to get guys' attention, sometimes after maybe not a great performance. So, and I think we'll have our guys' attention. That didn't guarantee you playing well, but hey, we did not play well at Baylor because we weren't ready or that we weren't excited. I mean, we just didn't play well.
Well, the field is all set for the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City this week. Despite sharing the Big 12 championship with Kansas State, the Jayhawks are the 1 seed because they beat the Wildcats twice in head-to-head play this season. That means Kansas will play the winner of the West Virginia-Texas game at 2 p.m. on Thursday in the quarterfinal matchup. If the Hawks win, they'll play Friday night at 6:30 against the winner of the other quarterfinal game between Oklahoma and Iowa State. The bottom half of the bracket has the second-seeded Wildcats playing the winner of the Texas-TCU game. However, one of the more entertaining quarterfinal games could be that 8:30 matchup on Thursday night between Oklahoma State and Baylor. Even though the Bears upset Kansas on Saturday, they're still projected as one of the first 4 teams out of the NCAA tournament. A win against a highly ranked Oklahoma State team could be the extra lift Baylor needs to receive an at-large bid for the Big Dance. So here's a couple quick Big 12 tournament side notes. Kansas has won 5 of the last 7 tournaments, and when the Jayhawks have reached that championship game, they're 8-1 since the conference was formed back in 1997. And coming up after the break, we'll get you caught up on all the Jayhawks who won Big 12 awards yesterday. And a little later on, we'll recap the Hawks' regular season and set the stage for the NCAA tournament. We'll be right back.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back to the show. Kansas center Jeff Withey became the first player in Big 12 history to win the Defensive Player of the Year award outright in back-to-back seasons. Last year, Withey set a Big 12 record for blocks in the season with 140. This year, while his blocks have decreased to 124, he's made up for it by averaging more than 13 points, 4 more than last season, and nearly 9 rebounds per game, 2 more than last season. Withey also becomes the league's all-time leader in block shots a few weeks ago, and now has a running total of 289 rejections. He's just as excited to win the award this year as he was last year.
It's an honor. It's crazy to be able to be a part of that, especially in a great conference, and to be defensive player again is also an honor. And it has a lot to do with my teammates just keeping me open and stuff like that. And without them, I obviously want to be on the team.
Withey joins freshman star Ben McLemore on the All-Big 12 first team, along with Kansas State's Rodney Magruder, Oklahoma's Romero Osby, and Oklahoma State's Marcus Smart. Senior guard Travis Relaford made the All-Big 12 second team, while Elijah Johnson received an All-Big 12 honorable mention. McLemore was a unanimous selection for the Big 12's All-Rookie team, and like Withey, it's an honor.
I just worked hard each and every day in the gym and just working, practice and just working on my game. So, I am blessed to, be able to be chosen for one of the Big 12 all time. And so it's great. So it's a great feeling too.
On the defensive side of the ball now, perimeter defender Travis Relaford joined Withey on the Big 12's all-defense team. As a Bishop Miege graduate, Relaford is excited to go home and play the next few games in Kansas City in front of many friends and family.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's back home, and for it to be my last go-around and to be at home to play, I'm excited. The team excited, and we're looking forward to it.
First off, congratulations to Oklahoma State's Marcus Smart for winning not only the Big 12 Freshman of the Year award by knocking off Ben McLemore, but also the Big 12 Player of the Year award. With having scored more than 20 points in 9 of the Cowboys' games this season, including his 25-point performance in Allen Fieldhouse, Smart has definitely earned the honor. As the season wound down, we kept hearing how the Player of the Year award in the Big 12 was a tight race between Smart, Ben McLemore, and Jeff Withey. While you can make a case for them all, I want to make a case for Baylor's senior guard Pierre Jackson. And no, it's not just because of the game he played against Kansas on Saturday. He led the Big 12 in both scoring and assists per game. Jackson averaged more than 19 points and 6.6 assists per game during the season. And he wasn't doing it against subpar competition either. In 10 games against the top 5 teams in the conference, KU, K-State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Iowa State, all NCAA-bound teams, Jackson was better than his season averages, scoring nearly 21 points per game and averaging almost 7 rebounds per contest. Jackson only made second team All-Big 12. Is it because Baylor is still a bubble team for the NCAA tournament that Jackson wasn't talked about more? Coach Self weighs in.
First of all, Pierre Jackson is a first-teamer. There's no doubt about that. He's a first-team All-Leaguer. We saw him when he was pretty good, you know, and he gets 28 and 10 on 13 shots. I mean, he was remarkable against us. But the whole thing is so much of your accolades for postseason is based on a lot. Sometimes it's based on numbers, and sometimes it's based on how well your team does. And I think that if we had a year, all 5 guys that made first team were 1,000% deserving, but if we had a year where we should have had 6 on the first team, this would have been the year.
If the Bears can upset Oklahoma State in the quarterfinal game of the Big 12 tournament and secure themselves into the field of 68, it wouldn't surprise any of us if they made some noise in the NCAA tournament. So if you ask Coach Self who the best player was in that game against Baylor, he wouldn't hesitate to give you an answer. And no, it wasn't Ben McLemore, who did score 23, including going 5 of 9 from downtown. But instead it was freshman forward Perry Ellis. He scored 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting and played 22 minutes, the most he's seen the court in conference play this year. For the Hawks to make a run in the NCAA tournament, Ellis has to give the team valuable minutes and get more in sync with Withey and Kevin Young.
I thought Perry was our best player, hands down. You know, he played well. He made one move where he made 2 guys fall down, you know, because they were both good moves. I mean, Perry played well. He was aggressive, and you know, it kind of tells you a couple things. It tells you what he's capable of, which is good, but it also tells you how valuable Kevin is too, because we got to have everybody. And with Kevin not being in the game, we don't flow as good and things like that. And then of course we need to be able to rotate guys in there and have everybody playing well, because when Kevin's playing well and Perry's playing aggressively like that, and you get Jeff who gets more than 3 shots, our front line totally changes.
And when we come back, we'll introduce you to the Pay Heed internet series if you haven't already checked it out. Stay with us.
Look, it is not as easy as you think being hot, young, and still single.
Add that you have this annoying accent, and finding Mr. Right can be really tough.
We decided to pass a link around Facebook, trying to meet people in our area.
Well, they just assumed that we were virus or spam.
No one wanted to click it.
I don't know what's in second or third place in most people's lives, but I know what's in first: our children.
Native American youth are the most at-risk population in this country.
And that's why I created the Center for Native American Youth.
We are working with tribes and families to improve the lives of Native American children, and most of all, promote hope.
We focus on preventing teen suicide and shining a light on the challenges Native youth face.
Please help us build better opportunities for Native American children. Visit our website.
Welcome back. You have to go back to Oklahoma State in 2004 to find the last time Kansas didn't have at least a share of the Big 12 championship, back when Keith Langford, Aaron Miles, and Wayne Simeon were only juniors. 9 straight is an outstanding accomplishment, and by the time next year's freshmen become seniors, they could be trying to tie UCLA's mark of the most consecutive conference titles in Division I history with 13.
You spend 2.5 months of your season trying to win a league championship. Why would we discredit win the league championship when you spend so much time trying to do it? So I'm proud of our guys, and to get 9 in a row or a piece of it is pretty cool. To have but what's even cooler is to have every player in the locker room, no matter how long they've been here, they've maxed out. And you know, that's it. So if they've been here 5 years, they got 5 rings. They've been here 3 years, they got 3 rings. It makes no difference, and that's a pretty cool thing if you think about it, to have everybody in your locker room that's maxed out.
Around this time of year, a lot of speculation and talk goes into tournament seeding, and all teams strive for that coveted #1 seed. Sure, Kansas won the title in 2008 as a 1 seed, but Danny and the Miracles were a 6 seed back in 1988 and still cut the nets down. And just last season, the Hawks were a 2 seed and made it to the championship game. Coach explains how the 1 seed isn't all it's hyped up to be. It all depends on the matchups.
But I told our guys, do we deserve to be a 1 seed if we don't have the best? We don't go to Kansas City and win the tournament? The answer is no. So, let's focus on what's first. But I'm not hung up on a 1 seed. We go to Kansas City and play great, and not be a 1 seed. I'm fine with that. We go to. I'm fine with whatever. But the whole deal, getting hung up on a 1 seed, to me does not work. Last year we were a 2 and proud of it and happy for it and all that stuff, and it worked out fine. And we've had years where we were 1 and lost in the second round. So it's all about matchups. And so I'd like to be as high a seed as possible, because that would obviously probably guarantee us, getting a chance to, play close to home. But I'm not really not looking at it like that. I just want to go play well this weekend, and we'll worry about next week when it gets here. Worry about Sunday when it gets here.
Well, to help you get ready for the most critical part of the year, I tried to think of the best way to sum up the season while also looking ahead to the upcoming tournaments. But I couldn't do that on my own. Courtesy of All Access Jayhawks, who has put together an internet series throughout the season called Pay Heed, I was able to find the best piece available to summarize this season. First, if you haven't checked out this series yet, you should. Just type Pay Heed into a YouTube search and all 11 episodes will appear. You'll get to see exclusive player interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and yes, that includes Coach Self dancing on multiple occasions, and highlights from every KU game, including the Hawks trip to Europe last fall. Narrated by Jayhawk legend Wayne Simeon, I hope you enjoy this season finale trailer of Pay Heed. Kansas will take on West Virginia or Texas Tech on Thursday at 2 p.m. at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. For all of us here at the studio, we wish the Jayhawks the best of luck in the upcoming Big 12 and NCAA tournaments. I'm Matt Gasper, and as always, Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
What if I told you a 33-game home winning streak would come to an end? The first place team would lose to the last place team.
The first Big 12 victory in history for the Horned Frogs of TCU.
That KU would lose 3 straight games for the first time in 8 seasons.
First 3-game losing streak since 2005.
What if I told you that we would overcome? The worth of a man can be measured by the size of his heart. This is our time. This is our season. You've worked far too long and too hard to let anyone take this from you. How do you want to be remembered? What is your legacy? Look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. You will see a man that's willing to sacrifice himself for the team. It's all or nothing.